Okay, here's what I decided I may do. Probably next year. I may do it this year. I don't know. The top, as you can see, this little makeshift thing here to get the heat from point A out there to point B. Okay. Now what happens here, that the heat coming up into these two pieces of ductwork, one longer than the other, the heat heats up these ducts. And with the fan blowing through them, it's giving me not a warm, but warm airflow. Now the problem being is that the fans are cooling it down a little faster than it heats up, especially when the wood starts to burn down. And I think that's probably, I threw some in here, but it probably hasn't. No, see, it didn't catch. Alright, so that's what happens. So what I was thinking is, I don't use this for cooking. This does have a cooktop on it. This lifts up and there's a cooktop. I'm thinking of getting some tin and building a small plenum. Something to come up about a foot. And what I'll do is, I'll tie in a piece of 4 or 5 inch, whatever this is, duct, and face it out that way, so when the heat goes into the plenum, it's going to definitely stay hot longer in there because it's forced to be in there, so it'll radiate heat off the plenum, plus the heat will be forced out of one of these ducts. Now I can even put a small, I won't put a big one, but a small fan attached to the plenum, so that it'll help force the air out of said duct. So that's what I'm thinking. I originally was thinking about putting a plenum on the front of that, but that's not made for that, and that's just going to add a lot of problems. So that's not going to be the goal at this point. But this will be. So what I'm going to do is, I want to figure out, I don't want to just use regular tin. I want it a little bit stronger than that. And what I'm going to do is make it so I can just pop rivet it right to the lip here. Possibly. Now I do have some tin, but not enough, nor is that really heavy enough for what I want to do with it. I like to use something like maybe like this. Or this down here. Yeah, this would be a good size. I don't want to overkill. I don't want 10 pounds of weight up there. So this would probably work. So I can probably just go to Home Depot or Tractor Supply and pick up some of their thin stuff. Again, real thin. I don't need heavy. I just need some thin stuff. And make the plenum. And that's about it. So it's just a matter of getting some measurements and getting it together. And I want it a little heavier than a standard plenum, only because if I stick something on it accidentally, I don't want it to collapse and cave in on me. So let me turn that heat down. So that's kind of like where I'm at. And I definitely think it'll give me a lot more, for sure. Now this pipe is double walled, so no matter how hot it gets, this doesn't get hot. Now my neighbor across the street said to me, run more chimney pipe, because the chimney pipe will radiate heat. Well, the thing is, I've got low ceilings and it's an old building. See, now he's got a garage over there, and then on his garage, his ceilings are probably 15 feet and they're all open, and they've got the rafters going across. So he can just rest a piece of chimney pipe across that, which he did. He's got about 20 feet of chimney pipe resting against it and going out. And the chimney pipe gets hot, and he's got a small fan that circulates down on it and blows the heat down. And it works pretty good, all right? But I can't do that here, because if my chimney pipe starts getting too hot, I will end up with a fire here. So I have to use double insulated pipe. Safety is more important at this point than a little heat. Because I have heat, so to make it a little bit more efficient, isn't worth building or burning down the building. So we're going to send this back. So tonight, when the wife gets home, I'll have her jump into my account and get everything that's needed and send this back. It's not worth 300 bucks, guys. It really isn't. Like I say, I'm really still thinking of using this one, which is like 10 years old or better. Actually, where are we? 2018? Boy, time flies. This is about 20 years old, 18 years old. It doesn't have G4, but all it needs is an external antenna. This thing kicks butt. Now, when I bought this is made by Wilson, and I bought it for the boat. When I bought that, my price, and I worked for West Marine as the electronic manager at the time, my price was 500 bucks 18 years ago. But it still kicks ass. I just don't want to buy an antenna for it that's going to cost me 150 bucks to only have something that's going to be a G2, G3 possibly, and 18 years old. It can go, you know, like tomorrow. And then I have an antenna that I can't use on anything else. So if I make one, I'll feel much better. So, and it's an outdoor antenna, so I don't. You know what? You know what I could probably do? Let me see. I bet you I can screw the outdoor antenna that I have up there now just to test this and see how it works. So I think I'll do that later tonight, because everything's inside, so I don't have to worry about freezing my ass off. I can unscrew it from the main unit, the outdoor antenna, which is this little white piece up here. It's approximately 2 inches round diameter and maybe 10 inches tall. It's already up there, like I say. The wire's already in the house. All you gotta do is unscrew it from the amplifier or repeater, screw it into this one. The power's already there. Plug that in, and I bet you I'll see how it works. I'm gonna do that, and that'll tell me, you know what, if it's worth buying an antenna. Because if it works, yeah, right, I can try it out, you know, today and tomorrow, and see what happens. And then if not, Monday it goes back. Yeah, well, it's all going back anyway. But if it works, I know I can buy myself an antenna. So I have all weekend to give it a try. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I may even do this plenum over the winter. Seeing I got time on my hands, it's not like, you know, I'm going to get much done outside. You guys are going to get tired of hearing this, but the biggest thing I want to get done is I want to get the alarm and the auto start hooked up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I have 6 of these. I opened up 2 of them, but I only have 5. So someplace, somewhere, I misplaced a seal beam. And it was probably right in the middle when I was walking around talking to you guys, and all the boys bugging me for a tea at the time. So I could have just laid it down anywhere at this point. Well, I got another thing I want to make. I'll show you when I get it done. It's not going to be right away, but I want to make a dancing girl light. Yes, that's what it's going to be. But first things first, like, where the hell is that seal beam? You know, these things work pretty good too, guys. However, they're not all that great in distance. It's up to 6 channel, I think it is. You get 5 or 6 of these, 4 of these, whatever, and you get one of these remotes, and you plug these in, and whatever you plug into that, you can program and turn it on and off through the remote. The distance isn't all that great though. You know, so it's something you can't really work the whole house with, if you know what I mean. The hell is the bulb? Come on, I don't believe this. I didn't leave the house with it, or the shop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe I should learn how to count. That would probably be the best thing. They're sitting right here. I'm looking at them, and I'm counting 5 plus 1, but I'm not putting it together. And this is why, because I was looking for an opening. I opened the bottom on that one. Oh, guys, I am cracking up. This radio is a marine radio. It was a decent one in its time. Not the top shelf of radios. This is a Uniden 625. However, it's a very good radio. And the LED went on it, the display. So I'm going to strip it down. I don't need a marine radio anymore. However, I am thinking about putting an ASI in, or an AIS, I'm sorry, in here to see. I don't know yet for sure. But I'm going to strip this down because I can use the knobs, the selectors, the on off. I could definitely use the buttons. Like I say, these connectors, they're kind of they're kind of made for this radio, so the connector is not a big deal. The microphone I can definitely use. That can work on anything. So I gotta strip it down. If I needed it, I'd fix it, but I don't need it, and so therefore it's not worth fixing, if you know what I mean. So let me clean off the bench. So other than that, guys, again, it's not a bad day out there. It's not too bad. No. This is all ready to go. This is all ready to go. That's all ready to go. This goes with that. This goes back in the box with that. These go back in the box. That goes on the antenna connector so that it doesn't get ruined. That's the new cell phone, which I got the SIMs coming for it. And if it works, I'll be in good shape. I'll tell you, for a cheap phone, I know it's going to be slow. It's not going to be a fast phone, for sure. But for a cheap phone, I like the feel. And for what I need it for, you know, this not being my everyday phone, this being, well, an everyday phone, but more for the department. That'll be perfect. So let's see. Let's pull this apart. Let me turn you guys around here for a minute. See if I can get you stabilized a little bit. So meanwhile, guys, what have you been up to? Yeah, winter's here. Annie, Farmer Annie. I forget. I'm sorry, Annie. But she had snow the other day. And she was talking about how it was the first time she was driving in the snow. She had a nice vehicle. It looked like it was in a four-wheel drive pickup. I saw it. So that's good. Where do you live, Annie? What state do you live in? And do you get a lot of snow? Because you were talking like, you know, yeah you do, but yeah you don't. You know what I mean? So I don't know if it's something you get a lot of or not. And they do have cellular powered, solar powered, I'm sorry, hot water and water heaters, as well as just heaters in general. Now, it's not cheap, you can work around it a little bit. What you can do is try to find a couple of safe 12-volt automobile heaters. If you find a couple of safe heaters, is that going to come off yet? No. 12-volt made for cars. You know, they make these extra heaters for cars, and they're going to deliver, and yet they're going to be safe. Meaning, you know, you don't want the heat elements to be wide open for the animals to pick on, or for something to get into it and catch fire. So you may even want to hang them, facing them down. And then what you do is you get yourself some small solar panels and put one on each shed with an inverter, and put a couple batteries in line. And when I say batteries, I'm talking some, you know, batteries. So in this case, they would be, I would say at least a Group 31 deep cycle would be the something to go with, and probably 2 of them or more for each shed. Or get like a bank of 6, and you can tie everything into them. Just run wire to each heater, and just run one big solar panel or a multiple of little ones, which sometimes is better, because if something breaks, you'll still have the other ones for backup. If a big one breaks, you're stuck. And then you'll have little heat for your critters. I mean, not unless they really don't need heat. I don't know. You know, lots of hay, and you know what? If you watch Matt, MB1R or MB31 or whatever, he has a cat, Mosby, that likes to stay outside, so he sleeps in the garage all winter round, all summer, all winter, all the time. And what he did was he bought an ice cooler, a styrofoam ice cooler. So now I can use that for a little project box. He put a heating pad in there. So at that point, and he keeps it on low, and that's what he does. So in the wintertime, Mosby goes into his little house, which is the little cooler. He got a little door in it and everything, put a top on it, and he's got the heating pad with a few little blankets on top of that, or towels, and he's all ready to go. He's all nice and warm in there. Now you can do the same thing. You can use an electric blanket even. You know, just, you know, like I say, keep it just above, you know, the low mark, and cover it up with something that's somewhat fire retardant. You know, a piece of material, and then you can throw some hay on top of that if you want, or whatever. Nothing's really going to happen to it unless it shorts out. But if you had it plugged into a good circuit, the circuit will short out and pop the circuit, so you shouldn't have to worry about it. I had a heated doghouse out here, heated and air conditioning. What I did was I ran a duct, because I have hot air on my furnace, hot air, heat, and air. So I ran a duct underground to the doghouse. It's not going to interfere with the heat, you know, as far as making it turn on or off or wasting it, because it's, you know, it goes to the doghouse. The only thing that's going to make the heat turn on and off is the temperature in the house, you know. So the one going outside, that doesn't mean anything. So I had it in the doghouse, and naturally when the heat's on in the wintertime, the doghouse stayed warm. You know, it stayed as warm as, you know, the house or whatever is going to let it to be. And in the summertime, it stayed cool from the air conditioning. So if you got hot air, you can do that. If you have hot water, run a couple water pipes out and use your hot water heater. You know, your hot water, if you have hot water heat, that is. There's so many different types of heat out there nowadays. You never know what's up and what's not. But there's all different types of ways of getting around it to give them a little extra heat. Or even just sun lamps, heat lamps. I don't know if the heat lamps would keep them up because it gives off a little light all the time or not. I don't know. You know your animals, your friends, your pets. Come on, get out of there. One more. Come on, be nice. Unplug. There you go. One more. Where the hell are you? I see you. Oh, you're just a ground. You're just a ground. Then I can get this off. Okay. So anyway, guys, I'm just stripping this down. Looking for parts, that's all. This was being used as a heat sink. So meanwhile, that's that. I'll get rid of that in a minute because I got to strip that down. There's a good speaker in there as well. So let me hang that right there for now. I don't need, well, you know what? I really don't need the end connectors. That's called an end connector. This is called an SO239 connector. They are different. And this is why I end up with all kinds of crap around here. But, you know, you see me farting around all the time, so I'm always using this crap. That's why I hang on to it. If I can get it off without stripping shoes. Because if I had to buy these things, no, I probably got more hanging around here than I'll ever use. But these connectors can cost you 15, 20 bucks, some of them even more. I got little connectors in there the size of that, 100, 150 bucks. You know. So, you know, it's a good idea sometimes to save some of this stuff. If you tinker with it, you know, if you're dealing with it. If you're not, well, you're just wasting your time. And everything else. So that should pop out of there in a minute. Yeah, good. That'll come right out as soon as I disconnect that wire. So that's good. Now, for the SO239. This is not a good one, so at that point, and it's not an expensive one. This is something you can buy for $1.50. But if I have to order it, I gotta wait for it, and then I'm probably gonna have to pay shipping on it. If I buy it from China, I'll probably get free shipping, but it'll take me 3 weeks to get it. So even though it's a cheap piece, it's definitely worth taking it out and keeping it. See what I mean? It's like my wife says, every time you go to the store, you buy 2 or 3 of everything. That's because I'm going to need it. I know I am. And if I have to go back to the store to get it, I'm wasting time. And I'm going to spend more money when I get down there because I'm going to buy something else. So buy it now so I don't have to go down there later. It's not like I'm not going to use it. I know I'm going to use it. Same with bird seed. I go to Tractor Supply, I buy 150 to 200 pounds at a time because I know I'm going to use it. I use 50 pounds a week. Alright. Now, how many other screws can I take out? Now, let's take the board out. It'd be a real pisser if this could have been fixed by just checking a wire or a cold solder joint. I mean, I could put it back together if I had to, but it's just not worth it. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. I'll never use these, but get rid of them. Now these little plugs and wires, I probably will never use the plugs. However, well, these wires may be too short for me to use anywhere else. And they go to here, they go to here. No, so I'm not going to use those. They're more or less proprietary to this unit. So, however, here's a power cord plug. That I will cut off and keep. Relays I'm not going to need. What else is on here? Anything I should know about? Any more screws holding this down? Nope. So other than that, guys, not doing much of anything today, just putzing around. I need this, I need this. Let me get out the big cutters so I don't ruin the little ones. There we go. I'll take the little one just in case, but then I'm going to cut this off here, cut that one off there, that one off there. Now see, this one I may keep because I have both male and female. So this may be worth keeping because if I need to make it as a quick disconnect for some type of power or something, I have it. Because I have both male and female. But the other one, where I only have, like this one, I only have one side of it. Well, that's no good without the other side. Because that's a yeah, blah, 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 blah. I just said it, now I can't remember it. There. And so these come apart now. And they're waterproof, which is nice. This one, not so much. So that's going to get thrown out. What's the matter, Duff? Oh yeah? I want to keep this. Trash. I don't want to throw that out. There, okay. Let me cut these off. Duffy could be such a pain in the ass sometimes. He's got that annoying bark. It's always the same tone, same amount of time between them. It's almost like torture with water dropping on your head. Yeah. So today is Thursday, if I remember correctly, and I'm pretty well set here. Let me see. There's something. Oh, right here. There's a transistor sitting here, and it's probably an output transistor, seeing that it's bolted up against the chassis. So it's using the chassis as a heat sink, which means it probably gets warm, so they want to keep it cool. And by putting it up against the chassis will help keep it cool, so therefore it won't blow. So that's how that works. Now, there's still something holding this in there. What the hell is it? It's not that. It's not that. It's not that. Huh. There's no screws. This one's disconnected. Couldn't tell you. Ah, I see it. Okay. I see it. It's connected to the bottom part of the board as well. There. Now I'm almost to the point to where I can't put it back together if I wanted to. Almost to that point. So far, everything I've taken apart and cut can be resoldered and reconnected. Even part of the board that I just broke can be redone. However, now that I'm on this side, I'm going to make it to a point of no return. I got to disconnect something here that once I disconnect it, this board is shot. And if it had to get fixed at the shop, so sent back, they would just put a new board in they wouldn't even be bothered doing what I'm doing here to fix it. Everything now is board swap. Oh, there's an O-ring. That's only good for one thing though. Everything now is board swap. They don't do board level tech work anymore. Nope. Right down to part level. They just swap out the board. It's easier, it's faster. It's not any cheaper because they charge you for it. So they're charging you more to make it easier for them to produce more. Okay, now that's gone. Like I say, now there's no return. Now what's this output down here? There's a driver down here. I don't do repairs anymore, so I don't really need this part, but what is it? Oh, this is a regulator. This will give me, this make, that, you know what, that'll come in handy. I have a use for that. I do. Okay, now this should come out of there. But it's not going to. Ah, they epoxied it in. Good for them. Did a nice job on that. Good. Very good. Very good. Remember, Denny did a nice job. You did good, Yonder Den. This must have been made in Japan. China wouldn't have done such a nice job on this. So other than that, we have Wreaths Across America coming in on Tuesday, the 11th. They're going to meet at the firehouse headquarters, and then they're going to have a ceremony, and then they're going to leave here, and I think their next stop from here will be the cemetery. Not totally positive. Now see, they screwed me on this. It was good for them, but it's no good for me. See, this is called a heat sink. They'll bolt things up against that, and then when the part gets hot, for instance, this part, this is going to get warm when it's got power on it. And as it gets hot, it'll burn. If it gets too hot, it'll blow up. So what they do is they bolt it up tight against the back of the heat sink, and they put a little heat sink compound on it. That's the white crap. And what it does is the heat radiates off the heat sink, and it keeps everything running cool. And as the air blows through, that cools it down, so that keeps that running at a good temperature. So I like to save heat sinks. I really don't need it, but this, you know, I can't save this one because it's part of the whole thing. And at that point, you know, it's just a useless thing to hang on to. So I'll put it in the trash. Okay, now this board, this is another part that gets hot. This is where this part here, which is the audio output, this was up against that heat sink to keep it running cool. Alright, so there's nothing here. There really isn't anything here that I can use. There's a couple little trimmers, but I would never get down to that level. So, not again anyway. So we'll throw that out, throw this out. Let's see what this board has to offer. These connectors are nice, but there's no sense me having them because, again, I won't get down to designing anything at that level anymore. I'm done. These relays are more proprietary to the unit itself, so I don't need those. This capacitor, there's really no sense in having that. It's just a little capacitor. What are we, 100 microfarad? 1000 microfarad, 25 volt. Okay. Don't need that. This will keep, that will keep. This I don't need. Still nice and shiny though. I don't need that. Okay, so I'm going to keep those. This is going to come in handy almost immediately. These are going to get thrown out. I don't need those wires. They're too small. If they were about 4 or 5 inches longer, I would hang on to them. These screws, I don't need all these screws, but I will keep them because these screws are always getting lost, and I have a little container over there just for them. This is a weather donut. However, it's an odd shape, so I'll never use it. So that takes care of that. So let me get off my butt and throw this away, because I got another one to tear apart now. I got another part of this radio to tear apart, which is the faceplate. So hold on a minute. Okay, so that's all. So let's take this now. And get into this. So first things first, let's take off these knobs. Those are something, these I will use a lot, so I want to keep those. This little button here, that there, that's a distress button. What they decided years ago, and I say years ago, you know, back like in 2000, maybe a little sooner than that, I don't remember exactly. Marine radios, they came out with this distress button, I forgot, DSC, whatever it is. And what would happen is you would apply for a number, and this is being hooked up with your radio, so it's all part of it. Well, if you were in distress, if you push this button, it'll transmit your number to the Coast Guard. Now, if it's hooked up to a GPS, which is what they use these for, so you can interface it to your GPS, it'll actually tell them where you are, right down to your longitude and latitude within minutes. So at that point, you know, they can definitely respond to you and get to you quickly. And that's what that little button is for. And that's something you don't want to press accidentally. And if you have it and you don't register it, I forgot what the hell they called it. Anyway, if you don't register it, they're never going to have it. So if you push it, it's just going to come up with a distress someplace with, that's it. Who are you? You know, so it's a good idea to register it if in fact you have it. I don't want to cut that. I want to save that. Okay. I don't need that one. The speakers are good little speakers, so I want to keep that. Speakers are nice to have, especially when they're a good speaker and they're a small speaker. It'll give me good sound, because sometimes you don't get a good sound out of a small speaker, and this screwdriver is not going to work on that, so I'm going to have to do it by hand. So, well, the sun went in, and it's probably somewhere around 1300 or so. Maybe a little bit later. Oh, it's probably a lot later. I bet you it's closer to 1400. And like I say, Reef Across America is coming in on Tuesday. I had an appointment with the chief because we had to go over a few things. And I'm going to go back and see him again this Monday morning. And going to go over the whole arrangement. Because we have to keep the firehouse in ready mode, but yet we have a bunch of 18-wheelers coming in filled with reefs, and as well as the little entourage, whatever you want to call it, entourage, that's what it is. So you have, you know, the state police, you're going to have the what do you call it, the board, you know, the people that work it, the people that do the ceremony, you know, so there's going to be a lot going on there. So we got to set up some type of a parking situation or parking program, because now that's what went bad. But again, I bet you that was it right there. Well, you know what? That would have been too much of a pain in the ass for me to repair anyway. So I'm glad I am taking it apart, because I don't want to bother with it. Oh, there's a momentary on-off. Then I may want to keep that little button right there. On, off, on, off. And it's a switch. It's not a momentary. I may just snap the board off there and do it. What's this piece? Let's see what happens. So, anyway, Monday I got to meet with the chief again. And I had told him if he can, I had asked him, I didn't tell him. I told him if he can to give me a layout of what you want done. And I got to know how you want us to identify who goes where, because it's also open to the public. So if you're coming in with your car, and your space is limited, so if you're coming in with your car, and one of the dignitaries or the representatives are coming in with their car, well, how do I know who's who? So, you know, we have to have a way of telling, so I know how the hell I can handle the problem, or not so much the problem, but the situation. Okay, so that knob's going to come out. Okay, you know what I mean? So I had asked him if there was something he can do there to let us know what the heck is going on. In fact, he's a nice guy. I don't know if I'd have the patience that he has. So, but he's a nice guy. Everybody at the department's nice. They really are. Town hall can be a pain in the ass at times, depending on who you're talking to. You know, but for the most part, the town's good. Same with the police department. The chief, you know, Kevin and all them guys, all good guys. There are two of them that are pricks, in my opinion. But it's just possibly where, you know, our attitudes or our demeanor just doesn't get along. You know, my way and his way. You know, not that it's my way or his way, but you know, sometimes people just don't get along. You know, there's nothing wrong with either one of them, just that they just don't get along. So I don't hold it against them, because I think they're an asshole. And I'm sure they don't hold it. Well, they could hold it against me, but yeah, hopefully they put feelings aside when it comes to law, and I don't take a pinch because he thinks I'm an asshole, or I think he's an asshole, so I get pinched because I think he's an asshole. But for the most part, it's a good town. I don't have any complaints. That's why I don't mind helping. Okay, so this one is the actual channel selector. This is a volume, and this is the squelch. These two do the same thing, so I don't have to worry about those two. I don't care too much about this button, but if I can get it out, I will. That's part of the board, so I don't know if I'm going to get that out or not. Let's see. No. See what it is, it's a piece of material that's in there. So this is the switch right here, believe it or not. And when part of this board and this button that has something in it, see, that's the button right there, that rubber piece, these are buttons. And there's a part of that that when it pushes up against this and pushes against that, it shorts it out, turning the switch on. So it's not a quick click switch. So those buttons I can't use because I don't feel like dealing with this end to make it work. So I can't use those buttons at all. Or switches, or whatever you want to call them at this point. Switches usually quick click. So let's get rid of that. Now we'll pull out the little rubber button thingies, which should come right out if I can get it away from that ring. That's it right there. But see, there's nothing there. You follow me? It's just there. When you push down, it would normally spring against this. Okay? And that would push against, this little tab here would push against that, and that would turn it on and off. So that's basically useless to me at this point. Now they got this little piece here that I don't need, but I got to get it out of the way so I can get that glue out. So I want to get this out. So that's Tuesday. If I can get a video in, I will. I'll put the body cam on and see if I can get some stuff with that. Sometimes, you know, when you run around, you know, and you're not really stable at all times, it's tough with the body cam. Well, you see body cams when they're on, how they work. You know, it's not like a video camera, but I might be able to bring a small camera with me. Let's see, I don't want to cut this, but I may have to. I didn't want to. I'd like to get this out of there without doing that. You know what, let me see if I can break it. No, it's not going to happen. Alright. Here we go. So, let's keep that. None of this could be kept because I can't reuse them in any way, shape, or form. The speaker I want, however, that's going to be a little bit of an issue getting it out of there because they epoxied it in. They don't screw it in, which was good because it's a rubber epoxy, so it keeps it from vibrating and rattling. But it's a pain if I can get it out without ripping the speaker. Because when you start bending the chassis of the speaker, then you're putting tension against the paper. And I really don't want to do that. Let's see if I get it. I saved it. I saved it. I saved it. Oh, it's a good little speaker, too. It's made of poly. Yeah. And then Wednesday, we're having our meeting, our monthly meeting. But we're going to have it at one of the local restaurants, and we're going to more or less not have a meeting, just have a little Christmas gathering. Now this is one that I'd like to have, why can't we have our mates, our wives, our girlfriend, you know, or whatever, you know, your boyfriend, you know, whatever it is, why can't they be there with us? You know, I mean, is the squad that cheap to where they don't want to buy your wife a dinner? You know what I mean? I think I talked about this once before. Alright, speakers out. this plate would be nice if I can save it, but I don't think I can save the plate. But that would make a nice little viewing window. But I don't know exactly how that's in there. So anyway, that's Wednesday. So Monday, I meet with the chief at 9. I'll probably be out there about 9:30, I'm thinking. Then I'll meet with Tom and the guys for breakfast, or, well, it's coffee / breakfast. And then get my ass home. Because my wife, I believe, is taking Monday off. And naturally, I want to spend some time with her. Now, she has a 10 o'clock dentist appointment, so at that point, she'll be all set. She'll be getting home probably just a little bit before me, so I don't feel too bad, you know, leaving her alone for an hour or two. You know, when she goes to the dentist, believe it or not, when she goes for her fillings, you know, a filling or a pull, or a cleaning, anything, no Novocaine, no nothing. Nothing at all. So there we go. Now I got a nice little window. That's just the way she is. She doesn't like it. She doesn't want it. And that's all there is to it. So, all right. This is done. That's garbage. 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 And more garbage. And now I just got to get a little container to put some of this stuff in. Well, first things first. Let's put the knobs back together so we know that we have a complete set, so I don't have to look for it. Hey, you guys remember, what's her name? Rainbow Bright or something? I guess she was having some problems with her back, and then she kind of got addicted to her medication or something, which can happen. But and then the next thing you know, she's not around anymore. Anybody know what happened to her? And there was another one out there, Crazy 45 Cat in Florida. Good guy. All of a sudden, last I heard, he was going to be selling his house, and they were buying like a mini farm or something more inland and getting away from the coastal area. And next thing you know, he was gone. I have no idea what happened to him. Now, I know people, you know, just don't want to hang on forever. People get tired of it. Some people do, some people don't, you know. But usually, you know, they kind of say, you know what, guys, we're getting tired of it. Had a good time, enjoyed your company. We may get back into it, but, you know, have a good day, sayonara, you know, see you another time. You know, that type of thing. But these still, for just, boom, they're gone. You know, kind of like saying, wow. Duffy's starting in again with that little constant woof, woof. Just enough to drive me nuts. Okay. So out of all that radio, that's what I ended up with. A lot of screws, 2 connectors, a regulator, 2 switches, and a speaker. Oh, and a little spring. So let me put the little spring in my little spring drawer. There. And let me get my switch drawer. Switches, right? And I'll put my rotary switches in my rotary switch. What's this? No? Okay. Now I'll take my little speaker, put it up here with my little speakers. My regulator I'm going to put right there, because I'm going to be using that. Let me get my little container for my little screws. my little container for my little screws. Let me see, my little screw container. That's not the one. That's not the one. That's fuses. That's bolt. What am I doing with bolt connectors here for crying out loud? There they are. Okay. So let's see what I have here. I really don't need all these. I'll just take some of them and throw them in here like this for now. There. That one and this one. Whoa, that's the one I want to keep. And that one there. And that one. And this one. The rest of those I can throw away. Okay. Radio fuses. Those over there. So anyway, like I said, does anybody know what happened to these guys? You know? Oh, there's a little tiny one. Now these are the ones you really got to hang on to, because these are the ones that you need one. You're going to drop them all to get to that one. So you can never have enough of them. Whoop, come here. Ah, that's telling me, keep me. Don't throw me away. All right, I won't. Come on, come on. There you go. One more. Come on. Okay. So meanwhile, back at the ranch, there's another guy out there too that he's still around, but he changed his handle or his YouTube name. Used to be something like Kill for Humans or something like that. It was kind of a screwy name. Now it's something like Defender for the People or something like that. Same guy. Used to be heavy. Lost a lot of weight. Took him time. He did it right. He didn't just dive in to, starve himself to death, because that doesn't always work, because later it's just going to all come back to you. So, he's been holding it. He's doing good. And he changed his channel now. He had a couple of dogs, a couple of pits. Nice dogs. I don't know if they're still alive or not, if he still has them. I don't think he would have got rid of them, because they were his buddies. But, they may have gotten older. He bought a house, started doing okay for himself. Now these are going to put down here. These are going to go over here. Where the hell are you? Come on. I know I got a spot for you in here. There you go. Okay. Other than that, that's about it. So, put your charger back in. Put this back over here. There. So what time is it, guys? I've been talking to you for how long? Oh God, I can't post this. It's 58 minutes. It is 2:36. You know what? I'm going in. Alright guys, I'll catch you later.